Kanye West, he would be facing sex trafficking charges if it was anywhere else.
Gene Deal has shaken the entertainment world by exposing the alleged connections between 5 major celebrities and Diddy, including the likes of Kanye, Jay-Z, and Usher. These shocking revelations have left many questioning why 50 Cent would leave them out of his documentary in the first place. Let's break down each celebrity and their supposed ties to Diddy. The first name Gene dropped in his recent interview was Usher. Gene highlighted Usher's past statements about being exposed to things at a young age that no child should ever encounter. For Gene, that revelation speaks volumes, adding a darker layer to the ongoing narrative.
Celebrities that saw it. It's probably a lot of stuff. Look at Usher. What Usher say? I seen some things I shouldn't have been seeing at that age. What does that tell you? That he's seen some things, he was around some things when he was young that he shouldn't have been at a Diddy party. So that's going to show you that there's certain things that are happening that's going on that here it is, this kid was saying he shouldn't even seen it.
The message is undeniable. Usher was subjected to circumstances that were utterly inappropriate for someone his age, especially in such a high-stakes environment. But Gene Deal has dropped an even more shocking bombshell about Usher's time with Diddy. According to Gene, there was a disturbing incident involving Diddy and Usher that allegedly led to Usher being rushed to the hospital, a revelation that only deepens the mystery surrounding their connection.
A certain feeling, and I felt a certain way when Usher got on Shay Shay, and I don't mean to mention other people's platforms, but he got on Shay Shay and he mentioned how great and how good Puff taught him and everything. You know what I'm saying? About the business, right? I know, and people know, that was around that in that time that Puff and Usher did have a situation. And that situation led Usher to the hospital. Now I let Usher explain that to y'all. I let Usher tell that story. But how dare you say a man that groomed you, you gonna give him a pass? Bruh, you know I know.
Gene Deal suggests that Usher has alluded to this incident in the past, though he's never fully revealed the details. This leaves Gene questioning why Usher would go on to defend or praise someone who, according to the allegations, mistreated him during his formative years. It raises serious doubts about the authenticity of Usher's public stance and whether there's more beneath the surface than meets the eye.
Let me reframe you on something. Remember Usher? We was at the Swiss Hotel. Puff had Kim in the room. Had one of Keith Sweat's baby mothers in the big room outside the master bedroom. He came outside in his robe. She gave him a fellatio right there. His back was turned to me. She gave him a fellatio. You knocked on the door. I came and opened the door for you. Puff went in the room. You came in the room and kissed that girl dead in her mouth. Now I'm telling that because you taking up for somebody that you know and a lot of more people know didn't do you right when you was at Diddy.
Gene then reflected on a personal experience that highlighted why this issue hits so close to home for him. He recalled witnessing firsthand the toxic behavior surrounding Diddy, an environment that was deeply inappropriate for young, impressionable artists just starting out. Gene pointed out that one of the most disturbing moments the documentary chose to censor was an incident between Diddy and Usher, one so horrific it allegedly landed Usher in the hospital.
I heard about some music executive from the industry back in Harlem. You know, I heard it from some music executives back in Harlem. And I'm not going to speak on their name. They doing programs and everything like that, and they may be doing some programs. They may speak on it themselves. But I heard it from some music executives.
What did you hear?
Bro, you know how people be talking, and we was around some people, something like that, and then some people might say, yo, I don't F with that dude. And at the time, I didn't even know who the F Usher was. You know what I'm saying? It was one of those type of situations. And when somebody say, yo, man, I don't F with them niggas, man, I'm getting out that industry and everything like that. You know, Puff sent this little kid to the hospital. How he sent him to the hospital? Man, nigga was bleeding from the butt. And that's what was said. Oh, I didn't even have a name for the kid at the time. Then you heard?
Gene argues that this situation reveals a troubling truth. Certain things were happening in the industry, and while some people were aware of it, silence was the standard response. He then shifted to a personal account involving Diddy and Jamie Foxx, making it clear he could only speak to what he directly witnessed. Gene recalled first meeting Jamie Foxx on a tour bus during a trip that's now a blur. At the time, the atmosphere seemed casual, with no indication of a deeper connection. However, he later came to realize that Diddy and Jamie were engaged in troubling behavior toward women, a realization that cast a shadow over their seemingly innocent interaction.
Some friendship stuff, and it was a tour bus, and Puff was in the back, and there was a lot of girls in the front, and Jamie was just real touchy-feely, but Puff didn't come out the back. I don't know if Puff came out the back of the tour bus. You understand? And Jamie went back there for a minute or so, then he just came out, and he was all touchy-feely with the girls, and I'm looking at this dude like, wow, this dude kind of like touchy-feely with these girls, and he don't even know them. They know him because he's Jamie Foxx, but he didn't know them, so I don't really know their real relationship or how close they was. I didn't meet Jamie Foxx and really have a conversation with him until I...
What makes this even more troubling, according to Gene, is Jamie Foxx's well-known history of partying with Diddy and participating in his so-called freak-offs. Jamie has even made jokes about teaching Diddy how to party on a budget. Looking back, those comments now raise serious questions. Why would the FBI ever be around Diddy? Was he a known asset at the time? These are the questions people are now starting to ask with a new perspective. Gene then moves on to another celebrity who was quietly cut from the documentary, Ja Rule. Gene recalls their story starting in Atlanta, where he and Diddy visited a specialty store while on the road. It was Gene's first time seeing Diddy in such a place, and what struck him most was how at ease Diddy seemed, a behavior that left him puzzled and curious about the deeper layers of Diddy's connections.
To an exotic bookstore, with Puff. I didn't know he even did that, but we was in Atlanta. So when we went to the door, they gave him a brown paper bag. So I guess this is a place that he was used to and people knew him there. So when they gave him a brown paper bag, Puff was just going around the store, just picking items off the shelves and stuff like that, putting them in the brown paper bag. So then, I was behind him and no Diddy, but I was about 3 feet behind him, as he was putting stuff and putting it in his bag and stuff like that. So this one particular place that he was put up there, he had to reach up kind of high and get it. So he just started pulling things out, and he was pulling a lot of them off there. So I was like that. So I looked up and the thing said butt plugs. When he walking down the thing, said butt plugs. I said, hey yo, just to mess with him. I said, hey yo, what are you getting these for? And he said, can I do my shopping by myself? I said, yes, you can. And I waited up at the register for him, because they had the big counter up there. So when he came to the counter, I said, yo, I'm finna see what this motherfucker this mofo is putting in his bag. Cause I know he gonna have to take everything and put it on the counter so the dude could count it, right? My man, when he came there, he gave the dude a wad of hundreds like this. So he gave him a wad of 100 and just put it up there. The dude ain't even, what I'm saying? He ain't even want to know what.
Afterward, they boarded a private jet bound for North Carolina for a show, with Ja Rule traveling alongside them. During the flight, Gene claims Diddy repeatedly encouraged Ja Rule to target Jay-Z musically.
I don't know what they were doing in there. I didn't give a shit. But Puff told me Gene, do not let nobody. You don't want to be up in that room because there was a whole lot of freaking shit going on.
Did Diddy want to start a war with Jay-Z? It's a provocative question that lingers in the air. Upon their arrival at the hotel, they settled into a spacious suite where people were mingling, eating, and chatting. But things took a turn when Diddy, Ja Rule, and a few women headed into a room together. Before entering, Diddy gave Gene a straightforward command. Do not let anyone else enter. That moment, Gene says, was a stark reminder of how Diddy controlled the situation, setting boundaries that raised even more suspicions about the true nature of the gathering.
And Puff was given an
Gene also pointed out that Diddy was notorious for putting people in compromising situations to manipulate their decisions. That night, Gene believes Diddy was trying to steer Ja Rule in a specific direction for his career. Whether Ja Rule will ever publicly address what allegedly transpired remains uncertain. The next name on Gene Deal's list was Jay-Z. Gene shared his belief that Jay-Z and Diddy were far closer than most are willing to acknowledge, despite public statements to the contrary. According to Gene, their relationship wasn't based on friendship but on business, with both working toward the same goal, suppressing the resurgence of East Coast rap.
So they was back on the East Coast.
Gene argues that the industry faced a major issue. Labels were unwilling to keep shelling out huge advances to New York artists when Southern artists were producing platinum albums on far smaller budgets. Rather than addressing the broken system, Gene claims they chose to suppress New York talent. He believes this is one of the key reasons 50 Cent faced so many struggles early in his career. Between label politics and the damaging rumors, 50 had no choice but to leave New York to find a real shot at success, which ultimately led him to align with figures outside the East Coast scene.
It's enough. Nobody called me Sean but Jay-Z. Now, I don't know what kind of statement, and I can't say, I wish I could say half a homo, but I know I can't say it. But I don't know what kind of half a homo that is. And you trying to say that you're not close to somebody. You coming on stage, patting them on their ass, and then you making a broad statement to the public, can't nobody call me Sean but Sean Carter. And I heard Jay-Z said this.
According to Gene, East Coast rap was destined to make a comeback, no matter the obstacles. He pointed to one artist who was on the brink of reviving the scene in a major way, much like Biggie had done before him. That artist, Gene says, was Pop Smoke. His rise seemed poised to bring the East Coast back to prominence, but tragically, his life was cut short before he could fully realize that potential.
They were so close that I expect him to remember, but I remembered. You understand? And he told Puff, he said, yo, Puff, yo, I heard about that Gene right there. That Gene got a mean left. Oh, you said that Gene a knock a nigga out. Then he gonna come up to me and say, man, you look like, man, you a tear nigga ass up. And I said to myself, I said, yo, no Diddy. Pause. Whatever. I said, he don't even remember. I was about to knock him the F out. He didn't even remember. He said to me to Laura. But that's how these guys are, man.
Gene concluded by stating that the industry never truly wanted East Coast rap to make a full return. In his view, every time it seemed on the verge of resurgence, something always stood in its way. While he admits it's not definitive proof, he believes it's a pattern he's observed over the years. From his perspective, Jay-Z and Diddy were far closer than people are willing to acknowledge today, despite what lawyers or public statements claim. Gene insists that their relationship went beyond business. They shared jokes about their personal lives and displayed a familiarity that suggested a deeper connection. He explained that many industry figures exist in a bubble, creating chaos, stirring things up, and moving on because they operate on a completely different level. While this mindset was common in the past, he warns it could eventually catch up with them. Then, the conversation shifted to perhaps the biggest name of all, Kanye West. Gene pointed out that before Diddy's arrest, Kanye had been outspoken, criticizing him and making harsh comments in interviews. Yet, now, Kanye has reappeared in Diddy's orbit, even wearing clothing that seems to show public support. Gene suggests that this flip-flopping is typical of the industry, where people switch sides when it serves their interests. Perhaps, he speculates, Kanye is worried he's next, Jean then recounted what Jane allegedly said about a trip to Las Vegas, where she was invited by Kanye and his wife. The group went out to shows, adding another layer to the shifting dynamics in this complex web of relationships.